सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य शीला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to assembled devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devi Dasi from Texas College Station, welcoming all of you to Bhakti Sangha conference call. I thank all of you for attending this session. Please forgive me for interrupting your ecstatic chanting. I would like to read the 10 offenses to the holy name which are to be avoided, written by Srila Vyasadeva in Padma Purana. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Second, to consider the name of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal or to be independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Third, to disobey the order of the spiritual master. Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in Vedas as fruitive activity, Karma Kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not to have a complete faith in chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success of Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everyone for joining today's Bhakti Sangha conference call. Let us move on to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. Before that, may I know who all joined this morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvindaksh Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvindaksh Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining and giving your association. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna, Gandharvika Mataji, or Srila Prabhupada, and Guru Maharajis, my humble obeisances to you, all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devi Dasi from Raleigh.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day, giving your sweet association. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashmati Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, and all the glories to the assembled devotees. This is Manjri Leela Devi Dasi from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Manjari Leela Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day, giving your association. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Sundarangi Radha Devi Dasi from India. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sundarangi Radha Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day from India. Welcome to the call. Okay, we will start the recording, Mataji. Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Devaki Devi Mataji to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 1st chapter, 16th verse. Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Thank you for joining this morning and enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Before I hand over the call to you, I request Ayan Prabhu to give a small introduction about today's speaker. Over to you, Ayan.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. I offer my obeisances to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Here is a very brief introduction for Mataji. Her Grace Devaki Devi Dasi is a disciple of His Holiness Niranjana Swami Maharaj. Mataji joined the Brahmacharini ashram in Sydney, Australia in 1985. As a grihastha, she helped to pioneer the first more organized temple in the former Soviet Union, and since 1999 serves as a renowned traveling preacher, regularly visiting India, Bangladesh, Eastern and Western Europe, the USA, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and other countries. She served on the GBC community for devotee care and currently promotes such care as a top priority within the ISKCON family. Her multifaceted understanding of Vaishnava culture inspired her to establish the Institute for Spiritual Culture in 2014, offering insightful education in Vaishnava life. She has published over 6 books and conducts holy name retreats around the world. Here's a brief introduction for Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayan, for that beautiful introduction. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please
Hare
accept
Krishna.
my humble obeisances. Very, very grateful to you, Mataji. Wonderful services to ISKCON. We are very grateful to you, and we are happy that this morning we are going to hear from you, Srimad Bhagavatam. And I heard that you gave a holy name retreat. So please enlighten us on that also. That's main thing in ISKCON. Once we chant Hare Krishna, then everything is perfect. Please, Mataji, in your talk, include that also. We will love to hear that. Over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? Because I actually forgot to put my external mic here.
We are able to hear you clearly.
Okay, good.
Mataji.
Okay, good. Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this session this morning. I'm just doing a little tour around the US, and I'm in Charlotte now. And the devotees here suggested, well, why don't you give a Bhagavatam class? So thank you that I can be part of this nice Sangha. Om Gyantimandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Sthapanam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakaramayam Dadati Swavadantikam Namam Vishnavadakashavasa Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Govani Pachaine Nivishesha Shunivari Pasata Deshacharina Vanshakapa Tuvisa Kripa Sinivevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Bhavanityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasari Go Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So maybe before we start turning to the Bhagavatam, let me just add a couple of little things to my introduction, because I assume that practically every one of the participants here, you may not have met me in person. So as it was maybe mentioned, yes, for over 20 years, I've been very involved in preaching in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh is a very special place. It is East Bengal. Most of Mahaprabhu's associates come from there. And our Vaishnav culture is up to this very day so much alive there, much more than in India or any other place. So of course I realized last year we had a bit of disturbance there in Bangladesh, and we don't want to get into that. But yes, over 25 years of serving there regularly. Sometimes in the beginning, I was there 3-4 months per year. And now I'm only there, 2-3 weeks per year. But in this time of preaching and serving there, I actually received a whole transformation. My whole worldview got completely transformed, because as maybe, I'm not even sure if it was mentioned in the introduction, by birth, I'm from Germany. So, but I never lived in Germany as a devotee. But in any case, that Western mindset and conditioning is quite strong, So then over so many years serving and preaching in Bangladesh, I received all these insights and transformations. And that made it very clear to me that we actually need some education in how to live what Prabhupada has given us. And yeah, so I realized, well, not everybody can be so lucky to spend so much time in Bangladesh and get all these insights, because when I'm there, I'm only with the local devotees. There's no Western devotees living there, even no devotees from India. So, and I live with them, I travel with them, I eat with them, I preach with them. So, and I have learned so many things from them. Yes, or the subtleties of the beauty and sweetness of Vaishnava culture. And that has inspired me to establish this Institute for Spiritual Culture, to put some systematic courses together on all different practical application topics. And I'm teaching them every year in Mayapur throughout the month of January. So usually over Christmas, 24th to 28th of December, we have the Holy Name Retreat in Ekachakradam. Very amazing experience. If you ever get a chance to be at that time in Mayapur, then please come to this Holy Name Retreat. And then throughout the January, I'm giving 6 weeks courses. And now I'm putting these courses into book form so it can reach more people, because not everybody can come to Mayapur and take these courses. So, and that's my humble mission now. I have so far published 6 books. I have to, put one more course into book form. So, and yeah, now I'm traveling far and wide trying to present these books to people and put them in people's hands and so on. Good. So, all right, let us turn to the Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Canto 8, Chapter 1, verse 16. Yes. Let me just go once through the Sanskrit. I assume that you do it like this, or are you all taking a turn in chanting? Or shall we save time and I just go through it? Maybe we do like that. Tam ihamanam nirahang katam buddham nirashisham purnam ananya choritam and shikshayantam nijavatma samstitam pabum pavadye kiladama bhavanam. So now we do the word for word. Tam, unto the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tamanam, who is acting for our benefit. Nirahan Kritam, who is without entanglement or desire for gain. Buddham, who is completely in knowledge. Nirashisham, without desires to enjoy the fruits of his activities. Purnam, who is full and therefore has no need to fulfill desires. Ananya, by others. Choditam, induced or inspired. In all of human society. Shikshayantam, to teach the real path of life. Nijavatma, his own personal way of life. Sangstitam, to establish without deviation. Prabhum, unto the Supreme Lord. Prapadye, I request everyone to surrender. Akila Dharma Bhavanam, who is the master of all religious principles or the occupational duties for a human being. So now we have the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, works just like an ordinary human being, yet he does not desire to enjoy the fruits of work. He is full in knowledge, free from material desires and diversions, and completely independent. As the supreme teacher of human society, he teaches his own way of activities, and thus he inaugurates the real path of religion. I request everyone to follow him. So now we have the purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is the sum and substance of our Krishna consciousness movement. We are simply requesting human society to follow in the footsteps of the teacher of Bhagavad Gita. Follow the instruction of Bhagavad Gita as it is, and your life will be successful. That is the summary of the Krishna consciousness movement. The organizer of the Krishna consciousness movement is teaching everyone how to follow Lord Ramchandra, how to follow Lord Krishna, and how to follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this material world, we need a leader for a monarchy or good government. Lord Sri Ramchandra, by his practical example, showed how to live for the benefit of all human society. He fought with demons like Ravan. He carried out the orders of his father, and he remained the faithful husband of Mother Sita. Thus, there is no comparison to Lord Ramchandra's acting as an ideal king. Indeed, people still hanker for Ram Raj and a government conducted like that of Lord Ramchandra. Similarly, although Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he taught his disciple and devotee Arjuna how to lead a life ending and going back home, back to Godhead. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naitimam iti sorjuna. All teachings, political, economical, social, religious, cultural, and philosophical, are to be found in Bhagavad Gita. One only has to follow them strictly. It sounds so easy. That's all we have to do. One only has to follow them strictly. The Supreme Personality of Godhead also comes as Lord Chaitanya, just to play the part of a pure devotee. Thus, the Lord teaches us in different ways just to make our lives successful. And Swayambhuv Manu requests us to follow him. Swayambhuv Manu is the leader of mankind, and he has given a book called Manu Samhita to guide human society. Herein he directs us to follow the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different incarnations. These incarnations are described in Vedic literatures, and Jayadev Goswami has described 10 important incarnations in summary. Keshavadvita Mina Sharira, Jaya Jagadish Hare. Keshavadvita Narahari Rupa, Jaya Jagadish Hare. Keshavadvita Buddha Sharira, Jaya Jagadish Hare, etc. Swayambhuv Manu instructs us to follow the instructions of God's incarnations, especially Krishna's instructions of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Appreciating Bhakti Marg as instructed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has depicted the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By Ragya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga, Shikshatam Eka Purusha Purana, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sarira Dari, Kripam Buddhya Yastam Aham Pabadye. Let me take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who has descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us real knowledge, his devotional service, and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness. He has descended because he is an ocean of transcendental mercy. Let me surrender unto his lotus feet. This is from Chaitanya Chandradori Nataka 674. In this age of Kali, people cannot follow the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore the Lord himself takes the part of Sri Krishna Chaitanya to teach personally how to become Krishna conscious. He asks everyone to follow him and to become a guru to deliver the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. Yadeka Tare Ka Krishna Upadesh Amara Agya Guru Hanata Aidesh. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Krishna, Sri Krishna, as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 7:128. The coherent purpose of Lord Ramchandra, Lord Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to teach human society how to be happy by following the instructions of the Supreme Lord. Yes, so very often, Prabhupada, in the last sentence of the purport, he kind of, summarizes the whole topic and hits the nail one more time on the head. He starts the whole purport by saying, this is the sum and substance of our Krishna consciousness movement. We are simply requesting human society to follow in the footsteps of Bhagavad Gita. And then he ends the purport one more time with that same statement. Yes. So, of course, there is quite a few topics there mentioned in the purport, and I just want to look at a few little things and share some realizations on that. So let us maybe begin by remembering how Krishna actually sets up quite an interesting game here in the material world. That all the conditioned souls are buzzing around, trying to enjoy, trying to be happy, because that's the intrinsic nature of the soul, to want to be blissful. So we try in so many different ways and so many species of life, going all up and down different planetary systems and species, until finally we come to this point of being materially exhausted. This is what Queen Kunti describes. If we are actually materially exhausted, then, materially exhausted means that we ask ourselves, what am I doing here? I've had enough. Is there something higher to life except simply eating, sleeping, mating, defending, enjoying life? Is there anything higher than this? So, and then usually, Super Soul in the heart witnesses that, and we come in contact with a devotee. And that actually begins our journey back to Godhead, right? So, and in the Prema Vivata, there is a whole series of nice verses, which I would like to share with you. They very nicely describe the internal mood of a devotee, or of a conditioned soul, let's put it that way. So this is from Prema Vivata chapter 6. It says, verse 7, it says there, roaming about in the material world. So I already like this roaming. This is what we are doing. We are roaming around in the material world, taking one birth after another. If by chance the living entity comes in contact with a saintly person, he becomes immediately knowledgeable of his true identity as pure spirit soul, an eternal servant of Krishna. So it says here, immediately we become knowledgeable. Unfortunately for us, it is often not so immediate, maybe because we are actually not fully materially exhausted. We still have all kinds of hopes and plans and aspirations to really enjoy life here. So, but then verse number 8 describes further the internal situation. So if a person actually becomes immediately knowledgeable of our true identity, then verse 8 describes, enlightened by this knowledge, he does not want material entanglement any longer. And he laments, alas, why have I served this illusory material energy for so long? So if this knowledge actually really hits the heart, if it is realized, there should be some lamentation there, some regret that, oh, I've just ignored this eternal relationship with the Lord for so long. Yeah. And then verse 9, it says, he bitterly regrets and cries out, Krishna, my Lord, I'm your eternal servant. Ever since I left the shelter of your lotus feet, my life has been completely devastated. That should be that feeling in the heart, that transcendental emotion that we actually bitterly regret. You know, we have ignored this relationship for so long, and my life actually has simply been a mess, devastated. So then, verse 10, Lord Krishna is so merciful that if anyone appeals to him earnestly, he immediately releases the jiva from material entanglement. So this is quite a almost mysterious way how Krishna responds to that serious feeling in the heart of crying out to Krishna. So, and then he immediately responds and releases the jiva from material entanglement. And then verse 11 says, Lord Krishna fortifies him with his transcendental internal potency, and this overbearing power of the Lord's spiritual potency weakens Maya's influence on the living entity. So yes, that's how it works. So Krishna consciousness is a very deep internal process where we are actually meant to come to this point of really crying out to Krishna. And then Krishna immediately responds and he fortifies that living entity with his internal potency. Fortifying means he builds like a wall, a protective fort, a protective wall around the living entity so that Maya cannot affect us, you know. So proportionally to how much we are actually really desperately crying out to Krishna, proportionately Krishna responds and protects us, you know, from Maya's influence. You know? Yeah, so that's basically what takes place here in this whole game that Krishna sets up. And yeah, as it is described in the today's purport, Krishna in so many ways, he actually tries to reach out. He appears again and again in all his different incarnations, or he sends his empowered personality like Srila Prabhupada, and to remind us, hey, you know, come back to Godhead. This is not the real place there for you, the material world. But also, he of course gives us this minute independence, right? Yes, that we have that minute independence to either say, okay, I've had enough, let me just follow the instructions of Krishna, what the whole purport is all about. And Prabhupada makes it so sounding so simple. Simply follow, simply, not so difficult, you know. So, but Krishna gives us that independence to either simply follow or to just continue turning our back to Krishna and have all our big ambitions in this world. Or sometimes we're kind of in between there. We are still having all kinds of big hopes and aspirations to make it real big in this material world and increase our sense gratification and economic development. But at the same time, we also have a little bit of Krishna consciousness there, especially Kirtan and Prasadam. That's always very welcome. But still, we are maybe not so eager to really follow what Krishna recommends. So there's a broad spectrum there, and it is a gradual process, you know, as we develop a higher taste. So then we can give up more and more the lower taste. Yeah. And yes, because as we mentioned, the soul by nature wants to be happy. And, you know, Krishna and Prabhupada, they give us the path to real happiness in this life and in the next life, you know. Yes, but often we are stubborn and we try to stick to our ideas of finding happiness. And Prabhupada was sometimes saying, you know, just give this one life to Krishna, just this one life. We've had so many lives, so just this one is for Krishna. And then Prabhupada said, and then you can do whatever you like. Meaning, you know, if we give this one life to Krishna, then we go back to Godhead. And there we can really do whatever we like in the spiritual world, what we as pure spirit souls like to do, you know. So that can be our, you know, meditation that, yes, just let's give this one life to Krishna. But so now in our practical situation, we have Srila Prabhupada's books. You know, Srila Prabhupada made the whole essence of the whole Vedic literatures available to us in a very simple and easily understandable language, because in Kali Yuga we don't have the time and brains to study the whole Upanishads and this and that. So that's why we have Prabhupada's books, and Prabhupada was always saying they're the law books for the next 10,000 years. Wow, for the cultured, civilized humanity. So 10,000 years, that's a long time, you know, that's a very long time. And we know that in these 10,000 years, of course, Kali Yuga will be more and more becoming prominent and so on. But still, that's what it means, that Prabhupada's books are transcendental, that actually, you know, there are the law books for the next 10,000 years. Doesn't matter how much Kali Yuga gets degraded and so on, you know. And yet, you know, many things may not be so easily applicable in our daily life, you know. So this is what I was mentioning a little bit in my addition to the introduction, that yes, you know, it is a question of actually applying in our practical life what Prabhupada has given us. So we are, I feel, in ISKCON worldwide, really, we are not quite there yet. So we read Prabhupada's books, maybe more or less, and we learn things, we study, we quote them, you know, that's why we have all the Shastri courses, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava. So this is a good beginning it's step number one. But then comes the real challenge to actually live it, to actually apply what is in Prabhupada's books. And this is not so easy, you know. As a little example to illustrate this, one of my courses I give in Mayapur is on the Vanaprastha ashram, not confusing it with Van ashram, but no, Vanaprastha ashram. That's the retired family life. Once the kids are grown up and settled in life, we are meant to move on to the next ashram, the Vanaprastha ashram. So the Bhagavatam is full of very clear and strong statements, full. But yet, where is it? It's not really established yet in ISKCON, the Vanaprastha ashram. We have Brahmachari ashram, Grihastha ashram, sannyas. But what about the Vanaprastha ashram? I like to call it the forgotten ashram. So that's my latest book I published. You know, it only came out 2 or 3 months ago. You know, the Vanaprastha ashram, meeting death with joy. So yeah, this is just a little example that even though these things are all there in the Bhagavatam, but also because they're spread over 12 cantos, you know, then often we miss the connections and all that. And yeah, so what I'm doing in my courses, I'm just extracting all these different quotes there to one topic, and I put them in systematic order, and I unpack them and unfold them and make them more accessible to devotees. This is my humble mission, that I'm trying to make Prabhupada's teachings more practically accessible to people. How to apply it. Yes, that's only one example. Even topic of Garbhadan Samskara, also Bhagavatam is full of very clear statements how important this Garbhadan Samskara is, the whole process of inviting a special soul to take birth in our family, you know, it's the whole process before conception. So it's all in the Bhagavatam. And, you know, in Mayapur, there's also the Mayapur Academy. They have a whole course on the samskaras, and I'm also mentioning it in my courses. But yet, how many people in ISKCON are actually following this? So we are not quite there yet. And it's not surprising, because ISKCON is a young society, actually. We are just over 50. And in regards to the Vanaprastha ashram, I'm often making this joke that Prabhupada says, yes, 50, we should accept Vanaprastha. So I'm saying, so now ISKCON is just over 50, so let's accept the Vanaprastha ashram in ISKCON. You know? So yeah, these are just some little examples of what I'm trying to say here. That yeah, we have Prabhupada's books, but we are not quite there yet to actually live them. And this is really the essence for me from the today's verse and purport, that Prabhupada again and again he says, yes, simply live accordingly to it, follow, simply do it. But yeah, it's not so simple as we see, you know. Yes, because unless we really live Prabhupada's teachings, there is not so much transformation happening, you know. As long as we are hanging on to our mundane conditioning and concepts and worldviews and tastes and so on, yeah, the actual process of bhakti will not be so transformational. We actually have to live it. Yes. So, and I would like to just quickly touch upon 2 reasons why it is not so easy for us in these modern days to actually really practically apply what Prabhupada has given us. Because, yeah, I mean, if Prabhupada's books are the law books for the next 10,000 years, so I think we have to say he actually expects us sooner or later to live what he is teaching us. Otherwise, why would he go through the whole endeavor of putting so much wisdom, so detailed explanations, especially in the Bhagavatam? You know, it's sometimes amazing how Prabhupada unpacks a certain verse and goes through all different details, just in the hope that we will get the point one day and we actually apply what he's saying, you know. So I dare say the first reason why it is not so easy for us to actually live what Prabhupada has given us is, yeah, Krishna expresses that in Bhagavad Gita 269. The essence of that verse is, what is day to the common person is night to the introspective sage. And what is day to the saintly person is night to all beings. So in other words, you know, it means the approach and outlook to life of a materialist, of a spiritualist. These two approaches are as different as day is from night. Yeah. So that means, actually, what is success in material life is most likely creates an impediment for spiritual life, right? Yes. And what is the highest in spiritual life is seen as being a loser and a weakness with mundane eyes. There's plenty of examples, let's say, the quality of tolerance in Krishna consciousness for a spiritualist, highly important quality to develop. It means false ego is subdued and dissolved. You know, tolerance, we have the examples of Haridas Thakur, Prahlad Maharaj. They are the personifications of tolerance, worshipped, you know, all around the universes, you know. So, but with mundane eyes, tolerance means a weakness, you know. What, you tolerate that? So this is just a little example of this day-night principle. And this day-night principle is accompanying us through all the different aspects of spiritual practice. And we have to be very mindful of that whatever means success and glory in material life may very well be an obstacle on the path of pure bhakti, you know. So we have to be very careful, looking very carefully, what are we inviting to our life? Just because in the material world, it's seen as fantastic and progress and wow, you know, does not mean that in spiritual life, this is helpful. Most likely it's not, because of this day-night principle, you know. And yeah, so in other words, what I'm trying to get at is that our material conditioning is very, very strong, you know. We are so heavily surrounded by materialistic propaganda, by materialistic culture, and so that conditioning is very subtle, very deep, not so easy to shake off, not so easy at all. We may think that we make our decisions and we have our opinions, but no, we are a product of our surrounding. Yes, yes. Doesn't matter where we live. Same thing in India, India is becoming now so materialistic. I've been going to India every year for the last 35 years. I could see, you know, how India has been changing. So, yeah, it's in all parts of the world, doesn't matter where we live. But maybe in India, people have still a little bit more the culture and the blood, because it's not so long ago that, you know, people were more traditional. But yeah, so we are very strongly conditioned by this Western, modern, materialistic propaganda, which we are surrounded by. So, and that doesn't make it so easy to actually apply what Krishna and Prabhupada are really recommending. You know? Yeah, so we basically have to have the courage, you know, to actually be different, you know. We have to have the courage to go a little against the modern trends and not be a part of this. You know, yeah, without that, not so easy to really live what Krishna consciousness recommends, you know. Yes. And let us be clear, the process of bhakti, it is meant to bring about a transformation. We are not meant to stay as we are. We are meant to transform our likes and dislikes, our tastes, our worldviews, our patterns of behaviors. Actually, we are meant to transform our heart so that bhakti can actually develop there. So it's a whole transformational journey. And that transformation, of course, cannot be imposed or forced on people. It can only be inspired and facilitated. But yeah, if that transformation does not take place, then our spiritual life is rather external, really, you know. And we can say we actually commit the 10th offense to chanting the holy name, to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. You know, so if we externally practice, so-called practice Krishna consciousness, but internally we really want to leave it all as it is, and we want to maintain the material tastes and likes and dislikes, and so, well, then we are actually, yeah, committing that 10th offense, you know. Yes, it's all very subtle, so subtle, you know. Yes, so that's one reason why in these modern days of Kali Yuga progressing very fast, you know, it may not be so easy to actually really apply what the Shastra is teaching us, you know. So, and then there's also another reason, a second reason, which is a whole big topic, but I just quickly want to touch upon it. That actually it is a matter of faith. We have to have faith in Prabhupada's words, unflinching faith. Yes. So that faith is so important because, you know, the Bhagavatam is full of statements which may be not so easy for our material conditioning to accept. Just the other day when I was in Florida, I had to give class on one verse in connection with Matsya. So there we have it, you know, in the Bhagavatam. This tiny little fish expands into a size of 8 million miles. My God, 8 million miles, a fish, so big, 8 million miles. So do we actually believe this? Do we actually have faith in Prabhupada's words and in the Shastra that this little fish expanded in a very quick way into the size of 8 million miles? Or do we think this is just some Indian mythology? You know, we may not even think much at all about these statements. Often we just read over them, you know, and we don't even think am I really believing this? Do I have enough faith in the Shastra and in Prabhupada's words? So there is so many things there, which may be a little challenge for our material conditioning to really accept. I mean, we have the famous story, when Prabhupada started preaching in America, the whole moon landing topic, So Prabhupada was very clear, no, man has not gone to the moon, it's all hoax. And some devotees in those days, and maybe still in today's times, they don't have that faith in Prabhupada's words to actually accept it. Some people in those days, they left the movement because they were so disturbed and bewildered about Prabhupada's uncompromising approach to say, no, the Bhagavatam says the moon is miles and miles and miles along, no human being can even go there, So Prabhupada had that unflinching faith in the Shastra. But we may just not be there yet, And this unflinching faith is just such an important thing. I mean, we have this statement in the Upanishads, Yasya Devi Parabhaktir Yata Devi Yata Tata Guru. So only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of the Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So this faith in Prabhupada's words, this is just of the greatest importance, because only then actually, the purports, Prabhupada's explanations are probably revealed. So, and only then we can actually live them, right? If we don't have faith in Prabhupada's words, then how can we apply what Prabhupada says? We will not want to apply what Prabhupada says because the faith is not there and the realizations is not there. The insights are not there. So, and then, we will, not really want to apply really, So that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that faith, unflinching faith, this is like the currency to purchase Krishna. Yeah. The currency. Krishna is conquered by a devotee who has unflinching faith. And we have that experience also in our daily relationships in life. If a person has really that unflinching faith in us, we will not want to let that person down. We will want to reach out to that person. We will want to protect that person. We feel obliged, if a person has faith in us. So Krishna is also a person. And if he sees, that his devotee has unflinching faith in him, he allows himself to be conquered, purchased. And of course, he is there to protect. And so that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur also compares the faith of a new devotee. He compares it to a newborn baby girl. Baby girls are usually a little more weak than baby boys. So a newborn baby girl needs all the protection and care and nourishment to develop into a grown-up person, and that's the situation with our faith. In the beginning stage, it may be very fragile. So we have to protect and nourish our faith so it becomes unflinching, especially faith in Prabhupada. I see this as such such an important thing, this faith in Prabhupada. Yeah. If we have faith in Prabhupada, we can survive anything in ISKCON. Doesn't matter what happens. And there's always a few earthquakes happening here and there in ISKCON, and some stuff is going on. But if we have unflinching faith in Prabhupada, Nothing will shake us. Nothing will bewilder us. We will never leave ISKCON. We will never give up the process of Krishna consciousness. But if that faith is not there, then, if it's not there, well, the reason, then Prabhupada's words may not fit into our mundane worldview, and then we can't accept things and so on, But if the faith is there, even if we read something like Matsya is 8 million miles long, we say we can scratch our head, okay, I'm not quite sure yet if I'm there to accept that and believe it. But anyway, the Shastra says, Prabhupada says, we park it. We say, okay, it's there. And at this point, I don't have the realization. So, but Prabhupada, he says it, and he must have his reasons why he says it. Same thing with the moon landing. We may find it hard to have that faith in the Shastra, but no, Prabhupada says. And it may not fit into my tiny, mundane mind here, but yeah, let me park it. And sooner or later, by Prabhupada's mercy, as I develop my faith and get a bit more purified, I may get to the point where, yeah, of course, Prabhupada says it, of course it's true. But if that faith is not there, then we start doubting, maybe even criticizing Prabhupada, arguing, then things become controversial. Whenever topics become controversial, and there's a lot of topics these days in ISKCON, I dare say the root of the problem is lack of faith in Prabhupada. Then things become controversial. But if that faith in Prabhupada is there, even if we are not there yet in fully understanding, if there is some little humility in our heart, we will simply say, okay, I'm not there yet, but Prabhupada says it, and it must be true. It must be like that, and then, yeah, we don't, start arguing and criticizing and thinking we know better and so on and so on. All right, so I think time is basically up, and this is also what, the main points which I wanted to share with you here today. So let me see if we have any questions or any further points for discussion. Is there anything?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for such a beautiful class. Very grateful to you, Mataji. I don't have any question. I ask devotees if anybody has any questions or realizations, please go ahead.
Hardly anybody has their video on. That usually means people may not even be there.
No, Mataji, we all listen very attentively.
Are you? Okay.
Yes, Mataji. Anita Mataji, please go ahead with your question.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much for this wonderful pastimes also you narrated with Srila Prabhupada. And I just was relishing like how much conviction Prabhupada is having and how much he has put his endeavor for us. And we are, it's like I will talk about myself and I'm taking it's just like granted. As you said in the class that externally we are doing Krishna consciousness practice, but internally, no, that is not there. Still we have that material desires. Can you throw some light like what Prabhupada said about this, like internally when this material desires are there, how we can get rid of that material desires? Will it be happening slowly when we progress? Because in this Kali Yuga, we are seeing all means all kinds of people are there, right? It's not only devotees. So
it's very difficult for us to really control our mind, as Arjuna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, right? So can you give some points on this, Mataji? Hare Krishna. And also your
Okay.
experience with Srila Prabhupada.
Well, I joined ISKCON after Prabhupada left, so it's not that I met Srila Prabhupada, but I have read so many books about Prabhupada's life and travels in Australia and South Africa and Germany. So I do feel I traveled with Prabhupada all around the planet. So we don't have to have met Prabhupada in person, but that's the whole thing, that we can develop a very deep connection to Prabhupada just through his books and hearing about his activities and how he was dealing in all different situations and so on. So, I mean, yes, as we know, the process of bhakti is a whole gradual journey. I dare say from maybe even many, or if not to say most, conditioned souls, it can even be a journey over several lifetimes, you know. So, and yes, as you're saying, so many people come to Krishna consciousness, we have so many desires. So ultimately, it is a question of developing a higher taste. Only then we can give up the lower taste, right? We cannot just suppress desires and try to jump up, you know, prematurely on the higher levels there. No, we have to follow the process properly and gradually develop a higher taste. And Krishna basically gives us the perfect system for this gradual purification. First of all, the ashrams are a perfect system, you know, that, yeah, there's brahmachari, or in the Western world, we also have brahmacharini ashram, you know, because Prabhupada could see the ladies don't get training in the families like it was traditionally like, you know. So that's why Prabhupada established the brahmacharini ashram. So I had that good fortune. I spent 4 years in the brahmacharini ashram in Sydney, getting systematic training and education and all the basic things of devotional life. So then I was married for 10 years, and we had a whole adventurous journey there, establishing the first more organized temple in the former Soviet Union. So, and then my husband left me and left Krishna consciousness. So that's when I moved on to the next ashram, to the renounced phase of life. So, and, you know, that's why we have Vanapasa ashram, you know, that we should, but there's a lot of statements in the Bhagavatam that, you know, we should not stay in family life until the moment of death. We have to extricate ourselves and leave the cozy, comfy situation and become more simple and austere and deepen our spiritual life and Shravanam Kirtanam. So, you know, it's a whole journey there, you know. And even within Grihastha life, I assume practically everybody here probably is in family life. So there also, it has to be balanced. I have a whole book on that, family life as an ashram, secrets of success, how to actually create this culture of bhakti in a practical, applicable way in our home life. Because that's another thing, that very often our family life is not, it cannot be called an ashram, a place suitable for cultivation of pure bhakti. We actually need some training and education in this. I have this whole course in Mayapur, which I'm teaching every year, you know. So, but many people, they just get married, they don't take any seminars, don't read any books, nothing. And we just repeat what we experienced in our childhood, which may be a rather mundane family life, not a family life conducive to cultivating bhakti, you know. So, but if we try and get some education here, how to mold our family life so it is suitable for cultivating bhakti. And Shravanam Kirtanam, you know, as we know, that's the medicine. So even though we may not have the taste, the medicine may still taste bitter, but still we have to take it. And again, we need that faith that yes, if I just put this in my life and I change my lifestyle habits, yes, bhakti requires that we change our lifestyle habits, that we take rest early, we get up early, we don't have these big, huge meals at 9 o'clock in the evenings. This is completely counterproductive to sadhana, So yeah, but this is amongst Indian people, this is a big attachment to have rice, dal, sabjis, puris. We just had a program here last night. My God, I'm always shocked how much people eat at late hours. No wonder they can't get up early and they can't chant and all that. So that's what I'm saying. We actually have to be willing to transform our lifestyle habits, Yeah. Otherwise, if we have this mood, oh, sorry, in India we eat the late meals, oh, well, all right, then we can't really make so quickly progress, if we are not willing to transform our life also. And that's how we show to Krishna how serious we are in cultivating pure devotion for him. I mean, let's be clear, it's not a cheap thing to go back to Goloka Vrindavan, my God, So we have to have some eagerness. Rupa Goswami tells us, intense greed, lolyam. That's what gets us there. That's the only qualification we need to have. We don't have to be a big pundit and be so learned and know so many verses and all that. No, we simply have to have intense greed for Krishna. And if we have intense greed, it means we are willing to do anything to get Krishna. And that means we have to gradually transform our life. And that's why we need a counselor. That's another topic which I teach as a whole course in Mahaprabhu, which I have as a book, Sheltering Relationships. So we need to have a counselor, and eventually we should become a counselor to others, because our gurus have hundreds and thousands of disciples. They cannot possibly know each person's individual situation in life, So if we implement all these things, we work under experienced senior guidance, even in material, life, people know you need a coach. If you want to be successful, you have to have a coach who coaches you to success, So we have to have the same thing in Krishna consciousness too. So we need a coach who guides us and who can help us to adjust and balance our spiritual practice, Yeah, I mean, there's so much more to say, but also time is going, and I'm sure it's Monday morning. You actually have to probably get ready for your day and all that. But is there anything else? Or shall we leave it at
Well, thank you so much, Mataji, for this wonderful explanation. Yes, certainly, as I said, we should have a spiritual coach or mentor or counselor, so whatever it is, so that we can regulate our path, or we can discuss with them, since our guru is not with us. So thank you so much for that, Mataji. Hari Om.
Thank you, Mataji, for the very detailed answer. Thank you so much. And the stress on Vanaprastha ashram is so much, Mataji. Thank you so much for teaching us that we cannot be always in comfortable life. We have to leave everything and live
Yes.
simple life. That's the main thing, yeah. And stress about the chanting. Thank you so much. And faith in path. Thank you,
Yes.
Mataji.
Yeah.
Very grateful to you. We have one more raised hand. Hemangi Gopeshwari Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Hare Krishna Mataji, beautiful, beautiful class, very inspiring.
Switch on your camera so I see your smiling face.
Mataji, I'm not, okay, I can switch it on, but I will not look my greatest, but doesn't matter.
That doesn't, it's not
Hare
a
Krishna
fashion
Mataji.
parade here.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So my question, wonderful class, very inspirational. My question is about the faith you just sort of emphasized throughout your class, how much faith we should have in Srila Prabhupada's message and words. So I'm a neophyte, and would this faith come with just reading, hearing about Prabhupada, hearing, like reading his books or Leela Amrita? Or how can we get it?
Yeah, that's a good question and also a big topic. So there is a statement, by regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, we develop faith, which eventually will turn into devotion. So the hearing is definitely one of the main things, unless we really try to more deeply read Prabhupada's teachings and the Shastra, then how can we have faith in it, But then also association, of course, is a big thing. If we associate with devotees who have that faith, then it rubs off to us, So association, having good association, regular nourishment for our bhakti lata, not being somewhere in isolation and just doing everything only over internet. I'm actually not such a, fan of Zoom programs. During pandemic, all right, I was also giving Zoom programs. But pandemic now is over, and I'm a personalist, and I'm every weekend in a different place of the world. So I usually only do personal programs, But yeah, sometimes like today, Monday morning, I didn't have anything on the schedule, So yeah. But the personal association is also very important, because then we capture the subtleties, the subtleties of consciousness of a person. So consciousness is a very powerful energy flooding the whole body, emanating from every pore of our skin. So, and the camera lens cannot catch that. So we get less than 50% of the whole message is transmitted through online. But the other 50%, that's the subtle energy that comes from a person, that we are missing out on. I'm sure we all have that experience looking at online on a darshan is something completely different than being there, right? Yes, yes. So, but in any case, yes, we need association, uplifting, nourishing association with devotees who have strong faith. And then just one word, what destroys faith very quickly is prajalpa. I have also a whole seminar on prajalpa. I gave that presentation 2 years ago in the ILS in Mayapur, the ISKCON Leadership Sangha. So prajalpa, all this criticism and gossip and fault-finding and talking about this person and that person and all these kind of things. This is so detrimental to faith. Yes. And social media really magnifies this. I mean, you may find this hard to believe, but I actually live without a mobile phone. I don't have a phone. I travel the whole world without a phone. I'm sitting here in front of my laptop, but I don't carry that away with me wherever I go, and it's always making some beeping funny noises there. No, oh my God. And I have very little presence on social media. My YouTube channel is not even maintained and all this. Because all these social media, 80% of it is prajalpa, actually, all kinds of gossip and rumors and, it's terrible. So I keep completely away from all this, to protect my little bit of faith I have. I don't want to have it spoiled by all this talks and all these kind of things, So yeah, we have to be very careful, Yes, in the name of preaching, we can easily feed and boost our egos that we become so anxious. Oh, I don't have as many likes and views as others have. And oh my God, it's all false ego stuff. So we have to be very careful, what we invite into our life. As we said, whatever out there is progress and cool and modern and progressive, most likely creates an impediment for us in our journey on bhakti. So we have to be very cautious, very, very careful. Of course, I realize too, there's some good little part in social media too, but the negative part is much bigger. Yes. Like Advaita Swami, he always says, Maya has gone high tech. Yes. And I keep away from all these things. Yes. Yeah. So Prajalpa is the main and foremost thing that destroys our faith. Hearing all this gossip and criticism, fault finding, and all that. All right, shall we leave it at that?
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much for this, Hare Krishna.
Okay, so I simply hope that one day I get a chance to meet you all in person. So yes, come to the Holy Name Retreat in Chakradam. This is such a nice experience, And we stay there for 4 nights, and I arrange everything. All you have to do is be in Mayapur at the right time and register on the website, and I arrange the accommodation, prasadam, transport, all on donation basis. Yes. So yes, it would be my great honor to have you there one day. Or then January, I give all these courses on Vanapasasham and on mentorship and family life and children and so many things. All right, so thank you so much for allowing me to share a few things with all of you. It's been my great pleasure, and I hope to meet you sometime.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for such a beautiful class and very nice question and answer session. You have clarified our doubts very nicely, Mataji. Thank you. Hope we develop that faith in Srila Prabhupada's words, and also always stick to the simple living, high thinking, and modify our lifestyle, as you mentioned, so that we can be active in Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you. And
thank you.
stop
Hare
with social
Krishna,
media.
Mataji.
Hare
Please accept my humble
Krishna.
obeisances. All goes to the Srila Prabhupada. This is
Hare
Shama Gauri from Charlotte. Thank you so much for your discourses in Charlotte and also for the class in Bhakti Sangha Jabba group. Thank you so much. It's very, very helpful. So many instructions and so many points you said, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so
All
much,
the very
Mataji.
best to all of you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. I would like to offer my obeisances to you and all the Vaishnavas assembled on the call. Vancha
Kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyeva pattitanam
Vaishnavebhyo,
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti
Vaishnav
Vaishnava
ki
Jai
jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Devaki Mataji ki Jai.
Radhe Radhe.
Hare Krishna.
Radhe
Thank you so
Radhe.
much, Mataji.
Wonderful
and
class.
Krishna.